This last week was our first week back to school for our new homeschool year. We only take about 5 to 6 weeks off, start back up in mid-July. So this week was kind of trying to get our feet underneath us, trying to figure out a new schedule, trying to get everything, the bumps smoothed out and figuring out how it goes. So I'm going to share all of that with you today. Thanks for joining me today. So like I said, I'm just going to share a little bit about how our first week of school went, what were the bumps, what went well, and can just kind of share how that went for us. So I found that the week or two leading back to going back to school, I started dreading it, which really, really surprised me because I enjoyed doing school with them last year. I really enjoyed getting ready. I was excited to start. We have a couple of curriculums that I was super excited to start. I did not expect to dread going back to school the week prior. So that caught me off guard a little bit. And I think just thinking about it, I realized that it was not so much the school that I was dreading as I had gotten used to lazy mornings over the last few weeks and just sleeping in when I wanted to a little bit more and just kind of puttering around in the morning, not having so much of a schedule. And I got my housework done. We had things to do, but it was just a more relaxed morning. I didn't have a schedule to follow. I didn't have a time I was trying to finish my chores by so that I could do school with my kids. And I just realized that kind of getting back into that, I wasn't looking forward to it. So I think me, more than my children, had a hard time adjusting to the schedule as we start school back up. My kids, it's good for them to have something to do. They enjoy it, and I don't think that really inconvenienced them at the ages they are right now. But me, I had to work to get myself up earlier. I'm not a morning person, but I need to get up early enough that I have some Bible time, some prayer time, that I can get the kids breakfast made so that I can get myself put together, and then while the kids are eating, I start doing some chores that I want to accomplish before the homeschool day starts. And just getting back into the swing of that was a bit of a challenge for me. And I feel like I'm not quite there, but I'm easing into it. We're figuring it out, but I feel like we still have a few bumps to iron out with regard to just kind of how the morning flows. I deliberately did plan in an easier week for our first week of homeschool. So when I plan out our homeschool year, I realized that to jump in just to everything that first week would probably be frustrating, not only for me in scheduling, but also for my kids. And they haven't been in that mode. So I looked at it and I looked at what subjects were scheduled to end soonest in our homeschool year, because we do like a 36, 38 week overall. That's how much we school throughout the year. So there's a few subjects that were scheduled to end closer to 32, 34 weeks. And so those subjects, I decided that we wouldn't start the first week. We'd just push them down 1 week before we started and then kind of smooth into our homeschool a little bit easier. And I think that was a really good decision, and I will probably do that again next year. So we didn't start my daughter's handwriting. We didn't do grammar. We didn't do our Bible curriculum. And I feel like there might be one more that we didn't start yet. However that was, just taking just a little less time in the morning, I think was really good. So we'll start all of that next week on top of what we've been doing already and just start the full thing. But that way we kind of ease into it instead of just like all at once. And then the first day I did even lighter. And then the first day I tried to make fun. We planned I had a back to school game that I bought for them. It's kind of a logic one person puzzle. So I gave that to them the first day and we played that a little bit. We did a little bit of school, but mainly it was just back to school stuff. So I had them fill out a little back to school paper kind of interview that I helped them fill out. They colored a picture. We took pictures with them holding a little board saying what, their back to school board. And we stapled those together and put them in their file for their records. I gave them that game. We did a little bit of introductory school, but again, like I said, super minimal, just that very first day. And that was fun. I'm trying to think what else we did that first day. Oh, the other thing we did chores, started introducing our chore chart schedule for my kids. So my kids are 4 and 5. They're really little and they can't do much in the way of chores. And what they can do, I really struggled this year to think about what we could do that would be useful, not just extra work for them, but also kind of get them into the pattern of like, after breakfast, you do some stuff before school and kind of get them in the habit of helping out around the house. So I picked out a few chores. I set up a little chore chart, very quick stuff. They get dressed, they brush their teeth, they make their bed. Every other day, one empties the silver, and every other day, one takes a baby wipe and just wipes down something in the house. Trim chairs at the table. I don't care. They can just dirty one wipe cleaning something. I don't mind a little extra cleaning somewhere. Stuff like that. So a few things, and we started implementing that this week. First day of school as well. The first day they were super thrilled. They loved the magnetic chore chart. They thought it was great fun. And a few days in, it started being more of like, oh, I have to do this. But again, it's really good. It's character building for them. It's good for them to know that I'm not the only one doing work, and not just when I want to, that they get to participate, they make the messes, they get to help clean. So it's something I really wanted to instill. So we started that this week as well. And that's gone well. I did see my sister-in-law recommended, she said I would, the best thing I do for our homeschool year is start that schedule, that chore schedule and the wake schedule a couple weeks prior to starting school so that we're not combining both starting school and starting a new schedule together. And I think that probably is really good advice. And next year, I may try to start the chore chart schedule and my own personal waking and morning schedule a week or two in advance, just to kind of ease into it so that it's not, again, both fighting myself and implementing new things. But I would say overall, the week went really well. I think it was smooth for what it could be. My kids definitely aren't used to it. I'm not used to it. I know, like when we ended last school year, I was definitely in a rhythm. I knew what we were doing next, and we just smoothed into it. And I'm not there yet. However, I'm also doing more work with my children. Last year, my preschooler wanted to do school, so we were doing like 5 minutes of school with her. And this year I have a few more things, still pretty light. It's minimal, but she's doing a little bit more, and so I'm trying to figure out just how to manage my time between both of them. What points can I assign them something to do and sit there while I'm working with the other, and what times do I need to have them just run off and play while I work with the other one. And that's also along the lines of I have an almost 2-year-old, and last year he was napping in the morning when we did school. This year he's not napping anymore in the morning, and so he wants to be part of it. And so I'm trying to figure out what points he can, when I'm reading books to them, he can totally sit with me while I'm reading with them. That works. But at what points does he need to, how do I manage that? And I'm trying to implement that when I'm not doing school with one of the kids and they're waiting on me, that their job is to go play with their little brother and help keep him occupied. Because there are times where I'm working just one-on-one and the other one doesn't have anything to do. And so I think that's probably going to be the way I try to help implement that, like manage. It's the 2-year-old who wants to be in everything. Their job is going to be to go play with their brother for part of the school time when they're not busy. So I'm still thinking through a little bit of that. I would say though, overall, our first week went well. Our first day went well. I'm definitely not in the swing of it. And I think we definitely have a few things to iron out just within the schedule and the flow of the day. I have what I've planned, but you kind of have to try it out and see how it goes and experiment a little bit, and it kind of all settles into place. And we haven't gotten quite into the settling into place, but I think we will. It'll pick back in, and I will enjoy it again. And I do enjoy it, and we'll get where we need to be. But that's kind of how our first week went. That's kind of what I did with it. Yeah, we'll see. I know it's going to take a couple weeks to get where we need to be, and that's all right. It's okay if things aren't perfect, things aren't perfectly smooth, and that's just the way it is. We're working with real children, real people, and it's not just buttons we push that do what we want. So it takes some finagling to get it all to be smooth and easy. Well, I don't know if it'll have to be all easy, but to be smooth. So that's how we did for our first week. We'll see how the next few weeks progress, and you'll be hearing more about it as we go.